making sure that I'm really.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Biz Buzz with Bruno. I'm your host, Michael Bruno, presented by Mads Theater. And today I'm so thrilled to finally have in our hot seats Buzz Kemper and Carol Schroeder from Orange Tree Imports, and from every voiceover and every audio commercial you've heard in town. So thank you so much for being here today. And let's first of all, for people that may not know who you are, let's start. Buzz, tell us a bit about your background history.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. And thanks for inviting us both. I grew up in Minnesota, and I stumbled into, by a number of weird happenstances, which I won't bore you with, but I stumbled into Minnesota Public Radio, and I got hired by them, and I started working for Garrison Keillor's Prairie Home Companion show. And I was 18 years old, and I was just learning, and it was an incredible learning experience. So working with Garrison, and also then somebody would be off to record the Minnesota Orchestra, and they would say, "Hey Buzz, do you want to come with me?" And I'd say, "Yes, I do." Someone else would say, "Oh, I'm recording the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra. Would you like to come with me?" Yes, I would. And so I got pretty good at orchestral music. And when I ended up in Madison back in 1983, there weren't that many orchestral engineers. And so I started working for Wisconsin Public Radio, but then almost immediately musicians started hiring me privately to record their string quartet or their piano quintet or their, chamber group of some kind or choral group. And eventually I had too much work on my hands, so I left public radio and I started a company called Audio for the Arts. And my dear friend Audrey Martinovich and I are still running it to this day.
Wow. And what year was that? How many years have you been in business?
It was a very, as they say in theater, it was a soft beginning.
Dulcet tones.
Yes, we kind of eased into it. But I would say 1995, 96 was when it started to kind of ramp up. And then I've had this voiceover career going as well, which has been very gratifying. In fact, I just got back from Vancouver, where I was just an MC for 8 days. So it was great.
And when did you realize you had the radio voice? Did you have that like when you were a teenager?
I don't know. There was a guy. I briefly attended this trade school called Brown Institute in Minneapolis, where they teach you how to be a DJ. And the intake person there said to me, "You have a great radio voice." And of course, I thought he was just trying to sell me on the program. I thought, yeah, you say that to everybody, but eventually somebody said, "Yeah, no, actually you do." And I don't know. I mean, you hear your voice in your own head.
It's
and
so
you
different.
Right. You don't think,
so different.
You don't think you're anything special. I still don't think I'm anything special, but I'm very lucky that other people do. So there you go.
Well, I'm going to age myself, but you had that same Jim Mader. Remember Jim Mader?
Yes, I do.
You had that same quality. That's just that relaxing, wonderful kind of baritone bass voice.
Oh, well, thank
and
you.
he was a staple for years and years and years in Madison.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Now, Orange, my darling, tell us a little bit about your because I know everybody in town knows who you are and knows and loves Orange Tree Imports, but they may not know your background.
Well, my background didn't have anything to do with retailing. I came to Madison in the early 70s to get a graduate degree in Scandinavian studies. My main field is Danish literature. And that, of course, opens up all kinds of career opportunities. I decided that it would be really fun to open a shop like the ones I had seen in Copenhagen, and was fortunate to be hired to manage a branch of a Danish furniture store in Madison called Board and Stole. They were opening a branch on Monroe Street and wanted me to manage it, which I did for 6 months, and then my late husband Dean and I bought the branch and renamed it Orange Tree Imports.
So that was the name of Orange Tree previously, right?
The previous name was Board and Stole, which is
Board
Danish,
and Stole.
Danish for table and chair. And so Dean and I bought the business. He stayed in his day job, which was selling packaging machinery for his dad, for a year, and then decided he would come into business with me and eventually spin off and have his own store, which never happened. We stayed in business together, and the store just celebrated its 50th anniversary last year. So
wow.
we've been around a long time.
And how did you come up with the name Orange Tree Imports? Where did that stem from?
So my real name is Carol, and in college, my roommate nicknamed me Orange. And I think because Dean and I met at Tufts University in Boston, he was from Wisconsin, which is another reason I came here. But I think because of him, the name stuck when I moved here. He called me Orange because he met me at college. And I think that if that hadn't happened, I might have gone back to just being Carol. But when we decided to name the store, we knew we didn't want it to be something like Board and Stole, which was in a foreign language and people didn't know how to say it or what it meant. And so we thought about Orange Imports, and it kind of needed a bit more of a consonant in the middle. So literally, we stuck the tree in the middle just to make it more easier to roll off the tongue, shall we say.
Well, it certainly has been a staple on Monroe Street for years and years and years. I mean, you can't, talk about Monroe Street and the shops that have been there.
Well, there aren't too
without
many
thinking-
businesses that are older than us, just a couple maybe, but in the same location under the same ownership, we're pretty much...
Truly. Probably Mickey's. Is Mickey's around
not
50
under,
years?
Yes. Oh, yes. They're much older than us, but not under the same
Not
ownership.
the same ownership, right.
And they're changing ownership this month.
Right.
That's correct. I remember reading about that.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm so happy they're going to keep it that
Yes,
way.
exactly.
And not like, tear it down, which is what seems to be
Right.
the way of the world with that whole Regent Street. It's like I don't even recognize some of Regent Street anymore. And it's still changing. The thought went right out of my head. But you're involved in many other projects as well as running a wonderful shop on Monroe Street. What are the other projects you're working on?
Well, I do lead kind of a double life because in addition to running the store, I write medical terminology textbooks.
Whoa.
I don't think you knew about that
I
part.
did not know about that.
Spent part of yesterday working on the immune system, but this is something I've been doing since the late 90s, project that my mother had started, and now my daughter and my niece are my co-authors. So it's a textbook for medical assistants and nursing assistants, and during the years that it's under revision, I literally lead a double life. I go home from the store and work on the book. But then we usually have a couple years in between where we don't have to do very much work on it. So right now it's in revision, and we're going into the 10th edition.
And how did you come upon doing that?
It was my mother's book. And my
okay.
dad had been a dentist, and she wrote a book on dental assisting and then was asked to write this book in the late 80s. And invited me to be her co-author in the 90s because it was a big success, and she wanted to keep it in the family, but also because it's for a somewhat elementary level reader, we knew that if something was too complicated for me to understand it as a non-medical person, it would be too hard for our students. So I came in with new exercises and activities and simplified some of the language. And I love it. It's fascinating. The body is just amazing. It's
Truly.
amazing that it works at all. But my avocations certainly include literature, theater, music. I have a lot of projects a number of projects in all of those fields, including the podcast for American Players Theater.
What a perfect segue, Orange. So, Buzz, tell us a little bit about this podcast. How did that come about? And tell us the information.
Well, we really need to start with Orange because she's the one who contacted me. So I think you need to tell that story, and then I can tell you, about my involvement.
However you'd like the story to
Fair
go.
enough.
So I've been involved in APT for many years. In fact, I've seen all but 2 productions that they've done since 1980 when they started, and I love the theater. I have such both love and respect for everyone involved, from the founders, Randall Duck Kim, Annie Grosso, and Chuck Bright, who had this incredible vision of bringing classical theater to rural Wisconsin. When I read about that in the Milwaukee Journal, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I couldn't believe my luck that this was coming to our area. And I had grown up with an interest in theater, coincidentally had done costumes for something called Theater in the Park in New Jersey with my mother. And so I knew outdoor theater a little bit, and certainly was passionate about theater. We started going to APT right away, and were devastated when it closed in 1986 for financial reasons. So Gail Cole and I co-chaired the campaign to reopen the theater. So it was a really incredible, busy year working with lots of other people who shared our passion for getting it up and running again. But I continued, once the theater had gotten back on its feet, to go to all the productions and to enjoy them. And I had a thought about 13 years ago that it would be really nice to have a talk back to get to discuss a play afterwards. But most of the plays at that time were Shakespeare or other classics, and they tend to run long. So it would be, 10:30 or so when the play finished, and with a long drive back to Madison, you really didn't necessarily want to stay after for a talk back that would start in 20 minutes and then maybe go till midnight. So I approached APT and said it would be really great if you had a talk back that we could listen to on the way home. And they said, well, we have a couple of podcasts, but they didn't have anything specific to each show. And they said, we also don't have the money for it. And I said, well, how about if I pay for it? And they said, well, that's great. That would be really nice.
The magic words.
Right.
Exactly.
We don't have to pay for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they said, but we also don't have anyone to do it. And I said, well, how about if I pay for it and I do it? So I don't know. I mean, everybody knows Buzz. So I did know Buzz somewhat. I knew that he was a sound engineer. And I suppose we might have actually started the Handel Aria competition at that point, because that's also 13 years old.
Right,
so that might have been how I know Buzz, and I would love to talk about that in a few minutes. But I approached Buzz and I said, Buzz, how much would you charge to do a podcast for APT? And he famously said,
if you're in it and paying for it, I'll do it for free. And APT it kindly gives me tickets. So I feel like, it's like, okay, you're doing your part, I can do my part. And my business partner signed on and said, yes, we can donate our time for this.
And so, do you discuss beforehand, or do you just come off the cuff after you've seen a production? How do you approach the podcast?
We haven't. We do the interviews before the production opens.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And I should mention that the original concept was Talkbacks to Go. We did. It was, I think, always a podcast. At one point, there was a YouTube version, but it was not a live interview. It was audio, and it was a CD. And the development staff at APT used the CDs as donor gifts. They sold them in the gift shop and made money on them. We sold them at the Spring Green General Store and Orange Tree Imports and gave the money back to APT. And so it was very successful, and a lot of CDs were distributed. And then came COVID, and two things happened during COVID. One was, of course, the theater closed temporarily, but also people stopped using CDs. So when we resumed the project in 2021, CDs were not a thing anymore. And so we renamed it also. What we discovered was that not so many people were actually listening on the way home from the theater. More people were listening beforehand. So we renamed them APT Portable Prologues. And we try not to give any spoilers in case people haven't seen the play. Certainly some people listen both before and after, or have a preference for one or the other. And it is only now a podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all the places that have podcasts as APT Portable Prologues. We do submit the questions ahead of time. Normally we get to meet with the director and two of the actors, not for every play because of availability, but in most cases that's our ideal team. And we submit the questions in case they have concerns about what we're asking. They have vetoed some questions. And in all but one case, I have done the questions and Buzz has done the recording. Last August, he famously had to sit in because I was in Denmark for the APT season is 5 plays open in June, 4 plays. I'll get this wrong. They're a total of 9.
Yeah, there are a total of 9. Yeah.
One play is October, November, so that play doesn't go into rehearsal until much later. So
I think it's 5, 3, and 1.
I bet you're right.
Open. Yeah.
And that's for both theaters, right? That includes
both
the outdoor
theaters,
theater
and the Touchstone.
The genius of having an indoor theater, which was
So
in my opinion, one of the smartest things that whoever came up with that idea.
yes, it
is
really
to have a
extends
smaller
their season.
indoor
Yes.
theater.
Yeah, extends their and I know people who will not or cannot go up the hill, so
Well,
they
sure.
still go to the Touchstone.
Mm-hmm.
And it expands what they can do. They can do plays that can't fill that big space or
Right.
that big audience.
Right.
You can do a play that can't attract 1,200 people, at a seating. So we go out to APT. Buzz is genius about hauling all of his equipment because he's a a perfectionist about the sound quality. And if we have to go out 3 times a year, he takes the equipment out and sets up the entire studio out there. During COVID, now tell them what we did during COVID.
We had to do Zoom and Google Meet type interviews, and I just detest those to the core of my being. As my friend Bruce Johnson, who's a video director, he put it best. He said it is always extremely frustrating when you are doing something in which half the technology is completely out of your control. And it's someone's home system. You don't know what their internet's like. You don't know what their mic is like. You don't know what their camera is like. In this case, we didn't really need the camera so much, but it was really frustrating. Things would go wrong, and somebody would just sort of freeze in the middle of an interview, and we're like, well, we hope we get them back, and so that's why whenever we possibly can, which is 99.9% of the time, we do them out there in person with my gear, and then at least we don't annoy the listener with Zoom quality audio.
Yeah, I got it. It was a learning experience all the way around. And
Yeah.
I to this day thank Channel 3 for keeping me on and doing it via Zoom.
Yeah.
Because all these poor high school students that wanted to do their senior and junior high school play, suddenly it was like, no, you're not gonna have that opportunity. And all of our other theater companies,
Yeah.
I mean, all the theater companies were shut down, and it was like what are you gonna do? Well, they all turned to like doing it visually.
Yeah.
And they all had to learn to turn their own cameras on. They had to learn root around for their costumes and their props and their makeup, and they learned a whole entire new skill.
Yeah.
And I was really honored to be able to say, this is what we have to do.
Right.
And we're in this strange world now, and we've moved from doing live theater into doing, television broadcasting, really.
Right.
With this medium, what you're saying, with Zoom, where it was like, you don't know if you're going to, freeze frame or how you're going to edit, who's going to do the editing. So
Right.
it really was a learning curve for all of us. But
Well, one of the things that I missed during the year and a half or so that we did it via Zoom was the camaraderie in the room. It's such a privilege for Buzz and I to be in the room with the director and the actors because they feed off each other. It's they're obviously seeing each other a lot because they're in rehearsal, but for them to get a chance to talk about their work and explain some of the ideas behind their work is great for them. And also a huge privilege for us. I mean, it's such a joy to talk to everybody at APT. They're all at the top of their game and have made a sacrifice to be in rural Wisconsin, bringing us this high caliber of theater. And I think that the more we know about who they are and what they're doing, the better.
oh, absolutely, I agree with that. Absolutely, 100%. So let's move on to the other subject you had broached, or the other project that you're working on.
Well, Buzz has helped me with this one also. About a little over 13 years ago, my husband, who did not like opera, had an epiphany while driving down the road listening to public radio. A Handel aria came on the radio, and he literally pulled over because he was so overcome with the joy of listening to it. And his love for Handel opera led us to talk about having a competition in the United States, similar to what the London Handel Festival has in London. There wasn't anything like it at the time, and we started the Handel aria competition in as part of the Early Music Festival, sort of adjacent to the Early Music Festival at the university in July back 13 years ago. Unfortunately, the Early Music Festival doesn't exist in the same form anymore, but it gave us a leg up, and we have continued to grow the competition. This year we had 120 applicants from 8 different countries, and the prizes are $10,000. So it's a big deal. We have 7 finalists coming to Madison on August 7th to compete. We do the competition at Grace Episcopal Church. Audio for the Arts does the sound for us, but also a live stream, which this year for the first time is going to be free. I'm working with Buzz's colleague Noah to get that set up on YouTube, and the views of the competition on YouTube on our channel are, I think it's 60,000 or something. So people around the world are seeing these emerging artists and listening to how well they can do the rather tricky improvisation that's part of singing a Handel aria. It's really quite wonderful, and we have an audience favorite prize that everyone votes on, and people feel really passionate about that. It's fun to see how people get involved in having their favorite singer.
And is this subsidized and funded by the School of Music at the university?
No, we're not associated with the School of Music, but we
Oh.
are private donations and the foundations. The increase in prize money was due to a foundation coming to us and saying that they would like to help us take the competition to the next level. So that was really, really meaningful. And unfortunately, my husband Dean passed away at the end of 2024, but I know that he was thrilled that we were going to be carrying it on in his memory.
That's awesome. And how do people find that? Is it on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. There are links on handleariacompetition.org that show about the tickets and the live stream and the videos and such. I should mention that the singers are accompanied by the Madison Bach musicians under the direction of Trevor Stevenson, and they play period instruments, so it's a treat for the singers to come here. They are in many cases young, just starting their careers, and they've never played with an ensemble of that level, that caliber.
That's really awesome. What a great program.
It is, and Audio for the Arts has been a wonderful partner right from the start.
That's amazing. That I had no idea. I mean, I knew about it, but I didn't know the scope of it is really, really. Yeah, it's kind of like the Jerry Awards.
It's not very much like the Jerry Awards.
But I'm saying giving an opportunity for people that wouldn't have an opportunity necessarily to do that. Professional, with professional people that are doing the audio for it and doing it at a competition.
And I love the Jerry Awards. I am so impressed by that entire program and by what CTM is doing in theater, and I'm on the board of Forward Theater, which does amazing work. I was at 10 Chimneys last night, and they gave a little shout out to Forward Theater and the Milwaukee rep and the excellent work that is being done in theater in Wisconsin. So we're very, very lucky. And I know that Buzz wasn't much of a theater goer when we started the APT project.
Right. Yeah, I was a music guy, and of course, working with all kinds of music in and out of my studio, and this was a revelation to me. I mean, first of all, there are a lot of similarities. Orange was talking about when we do interviews in person, the way that the interactions between actors and directors in the room is amazing, and it's kind of like when I record a jazz ensemble and somebody, sax player plays a riff and then the bassist picks up on it and does something else, and then the drummer picks up on it. And actors are like that. They pay attention to each other and react. And it's been such a wonderful opening to me. Now, I did some theater in college, so it's not like I was completely, devoid of theatrical, background, but I didn't know a lot about the classics. I'd seen a couple Shakespeare plays. I was apparently I must have been a somewhat classy teenager, because my very first car date was I took Leanne Lawmeyer to see A Winter's Tale at the Guthrie in Minneapolis, and I thought I'm not going to be that kid who takes her to the movie 3 blocks down the street. I'm going to do this right. But anyway, yeah, it's been great. So I've developed favorite playwrights now and favorite plays, and getting to know the actors and managerial folks and everyone at APT has been such a treat. They're all very, very good to us, and now I'm excited to see the plays, and I'm single these days, so I get to take various friends to the different plays, and I basically have people lining up like, oh, can I go see this with you? Can I go see this with you? And it's been a real treat. So I appreciate Orange bringing me in, and it pushed me. This was kind of a funny thing. I was using my good friend Steve Tibbetts is a major recording artist. He records with ECM Records, which is a European label, and he had this really dramatic piece of music that I wanted to use. So I called him up and I said, Steve, could I use a minute or so of this for these podcasts? And he said, Buzz, you can use my music for whatever you want. And I said, okay. How about ECM? We need to talk to Steve Lake and find out if he's okay with it. And so we got a hold of Steve Lake, one of the higher ups there, and he said, if Steve gives you his permission, I give you my permission, you can do it. So we started using these, and I said in the credits, all music used by permission of the artist and the label, but we would get taken down by UMG, the Universal Music Group, because they would flag it as stolen material. And so someone from ECM would call, whoever it is at UMG, or email them and say, he has our permission, put his video back up, or whatever it is. And eventually I said to Orange, I said, I'm sick of this. I'm going to write my own theme song. And about 3 months later, she said, so how's that theme song coming? And I went, oh my God, now I actually have to do it. And but it was really fun. I got a bunch of my colleagues in, and we wrote. I wrote my own thing and let some of my colleagues kind of riff on it. Oh yes, so one of the things. So I wanted this to be very earthy. It's Play in the Woods, right? And that's what I called the song, Play in the Woods. So I wanted it to be this earthy thing. I wanted it to have kind of just real like naked kind of like, dancing naked in the woods kind of feel to it. And so I asked my friend, my dear friend Susan Hofer, who's a wonderful jazz singer, to do a wordless improvised vocal over it, and had all these other people come in, and I thought, now what else can I do to connect it to the earth? And I thought, when I go to APT, especially early in the season, the frogs in those swamps, those little ponds, they're singing like crazy. I'm going to go up there and record them. But you have to get there at dusk, which is when they're really going at it. And so I was running late. I start zooming up there. I get pulled over for speeding.
Of course.
Yeah, right. And I got a ticket, and I got up there just barely enough time. I got a few, frogs. I had to go up a second time, but I actually appeared in court because I thought, rather than pay this fine, this judge, it's not so much fight it, but I thought, this judge is going to be, whoever it is, he or she is going to be very amused, by this story. And so the judge, asked me, very nice woman, she said, why were you speeding? And I said, well, let me tell you. I had to record these frogs for this podcast, and they sing at dusk, and I'm running late, and she laughed and cut the fine down to like a third, and didn't take any points away, just because I think I provided her some amusement that day.
If you've got a good story, you might as well plead your case.
Yeah.
But the real question is, do the frogs get credit?
Yeah, well, in my mind they do. I can tell you one thing. I have sent them a check for 25% of my profits every year.
There you go.
So there you go.
Well, whenever I listen to the portable prologue in the car, if I'm going to APT with friends, when it comes on, I always say, "These are APT frogs." They're always very impressed.
That was another big thing to me, because I have these. I'm very. Connections are very meaningful to me. I didn't want to record, frogs from the
Wingra,
Arboretum.
just Wingra frogs.
Right. I have frogs singing across the street from me in the Arboretum, but I couldn't use those frogs. I had to use APT frogs. And so I was very, very, very pleased with that. And then there was another night where I was walking back after a play and there was just one little frog chirping. And I recorded that with my phone and I overdubbed. So when people listen to the podcast, you'll notice that the chorus of frogs slowly fades, and then you hear this one just little peeping.
Notice that.
And that was a separate frog that I recorded. Well, this is what you do when you're an audio geek. It's like I might be the only one who notices, but it's still worth it.
Exactly.
And I love the fact that the quality means a lot to Buzz. I mean,
Sure.
I'm not recording this on my phone. They sound good. And Mike Fisher, who used to be the theater critic for the Milwaukee Journal, pointed out to me that these are archives. So if somebody wants to know what APT's thought was when they did Midsummer Night's Dream in 2013, they can, or no, I guess we didn't go back quite that far.
Yeah.
That they can listen to these because they continue to exist. So that really took me back for a moment thinking, oh, this has a lasting meaning to the history of theater because theater is so ephemeral, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
You see it and then you might talk about it afterwards or you might remember it, but you might not because it's gone. You could see a still from it maybe, but maybe not. So to have a way of preserving the, what the designers are thinking, what the actors are challenged by, we get into a lot of interesting topics in the interviews.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I love about the portable prologues is when somebody tells me that they were thinking maybe they wouldn't go see a show, but they listened to the interview and they thought, oh, I better get tickets to that.
Right.
I mean, I just saw Casey and Diana at APT, brilliant production, and I knew ahead of time I would love it because I had heard them talk about it and what its origin story was, who was in it, and I knew it was going to be good, and it was every bit as good as I thought it would be.
Yeah. And there's a lot of just moments of levity, and I'm going to tell you the biggest laugh that ever happened on my part was you were recording an interview. I believe it was Bill Brown who directed Death of a Salesman some years ago. Does that sound right? It doesn't whoever the director was. Mm-hmm. She was interviewing him, and like she said, we're always careful about spoilers. Like we want to make sure we just talk about the production and don't give anything away. And he opened the interview by saying, "Well, I don't have to worry about giving a spoiler on this one. The ending is in the title."
That's very true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yes, very true.
No, you're also a musician as well. So don't you play guitar?
I do. Yeah. I don't consider myself to be very good at it, but
You're supposed to say, yes, I'm an accomplished guitar player, and I'll book gigs everywhere.
Yeah, man.
There
Rock
you go.
on.
There you go.
Yeah.
School of Rock, baby.
No, I mean, one of the things I feel like one of my so the answer is yes. I feel like one of the things I'm very good at is identifying my own weaknesses and things that other people have that are strengths in those areas. And 3 years ago, I decided that there were two things I wanted to do. I wanted to be in a band so that I could improve my guitar playing skills. And I wanted to host a TV show. And I literally just made two lists of people. Who do I need to be in my band? And who do I want to work with me on the TV show? And I started putting both of these things together at the same time. And they're both going very well. The TV show, we got accepted by NETA, the National Educational Telecommunications Association, for national distribution. So we will have a national show at some point once we're ready. It's called From the Front Row, and we just recorded Bert Pinsonneau's Madison Choral Project in Cave of the Mounds.
Oh, how cool is that?
You're right. So we're trying to do really cool stuff. But then I'm in this band, and it's three guys my age and then three younger women. And our drummer once made a comment. He's my age, and he made a comment. He said, "I feel like I'm in a band with my three auxiliary daughters." And so we thought, let's call the band Auxiliary Daughter. And so we played 3 sets at Make Music Madison. We've played a few other places, and it's great because everybody in the band got to put in 5 or 6 songs that they wanted to cover, and they all have different tastes. So I'm learning a Linda Ronstadt song, and then I'm learning a Pink Floyd song, and then I'm learning a Santana song. And so, is it making me a better guitarist? Oh yes. I am having to practice a lot.
Which is a good thing.
It's a great thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and when will you open up your school of dance now, Orange? that's the one subject I haven't heard you like expound on. Is like modern contemporary dance.
And I was on the City Arts Commission for a while, and when we had dance applicants, it was a language I do not speak. But I've become a huge fan of Madison Ballet. I love their work. I think John Malik is brilliant, and it's such an under-attended, appreciated, but brilliant group in Madison. So I certainly am not a ballerina, but I can watch one and admire them. And I love the fact that when you sit down to a performance, it's the voice of Buzz that comes out.
See,
I'm the please turn off your cell phone guy. It's very very exciting.
I feel like Buzz is with me always. It's
Yes.
his voice is omnipresent. And I do also arrange for the dance groups that perform at the Monroe Street Festival, which is September 26th. So I get to encourage dancers to do their thing.
See, I knew it. I knew there'd be dance involved. I just had to get that plug in for you. So the other burning question is, since we're all, one-named celebrities, Buzz, Orange, and Bruno, how did you get Buzz? Is Buzz your given name? Is Buzzword or
Right. No, I wish my departed mother were here to tell the story because she did it much more charmingly than I did. But no, my real name is Bernard, and it's not Bernard, it's Bernard. I was named for my paternal grandfather, and his name was Bernard. But when I was about a week old, my mother said there was this young girl who used to come over and help my mom. At this point, I was the 5th kid, and my dad was working 10, 12 hours a day at his pharmacy. And so mom needed some help around the house. And so she had this teenage girl named Kitty Maher. I never met her as an adult. I wouldn't know her if she, bit me on the nose, but she would come over and help with chores and maybe do babysitting and whatever my parents needed. And Kitty came over when I was about a week old, and I was there in this little bassinet, and my mother said she just walked over and said, "Oh, he's not a Bernard, he's a Buzzy." And apparently that was it. Like I became Buzz or Buzzy from that day forward. So people think it came from my career or maybe a bad haircut or maybe abuse of mind-altering substances, but it was none of the above. I was just a baby who had nothing to say about it, but I absolutely love it.
And did everybody call you Buzz then? Did your family all call you Buzz?
Yes, everyone I know calls me Buzz. There are 3 people who are allowed to call me Buzzy. One is a woman I dated for a long time, so she gets special privileges.
Of course.
One is a friend who's known me since I was 8, so he gets to call me Buzzy. And the third is an attorney at the Freedom from Religion Foundation who literally just walked up and asked me. She said, "May I call you Buzzy?" And I said, "Liz, I've never had anyone just ask me before, but yes, you may." And so Liz Cavell, a wonderful attorney here in town,
And that's another
also
aspect
calls
to
me
your
Buzzy.
career, the Freedom from Religious Foundation.
Yes. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do work for them, and we've done. Yeah, I mean, we basically, we work for all kinds of groups, throughout town, from Hindu, Christian, Jewish, atheist, you name it, and
But also American Family.
yes, and I just got back. Like I said, I just got back from 8 days in Vancouver, at which I was only an MC for some award ceremonies by American Family Insurance. They are very good to me. They fly me, several really cool places around the world. Next year we go to Hawaii.
Oh, lucky you!
I know. Yeah, and I'm their MC, and the agents are so sweet. I had one guy who retired about a year and a half ago. His name is Jeff Mayhew. He won something every year. He was always one of their top salespeople. And he and his wife walked up to me after one of the shows, and he was very quiet. I think he was almost a little emotional, but his wife said, "You have no idea what you have meant to us over these past like 14 years." She goes, "Every time Jeff has won something or been recognized something, it's your voice."
Oh,
And she said, "You have been such an important part of my husband's career, and I want to thank you." And I thought, who knew you could get like choked up over, insurance, but it was just so sweet. Right. It was just so sweet. So anyway, that's another one of the many things I do.
Well, but the burning question was the buzz. So now that's been answered.
Yes. Now you know where buzz came from.
Asked and answered.
Yes.
I can always tell like who knows me from what part of my life, because my real name is Joseph. And the only people that called me Joseph were the nuns at St. James, because they had to call you by your God-given first name.
Okay.
And any of the kids that I went to grade school with.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that there were 5 Josephs in my family. So why in the world did you name me Joseph when they all called me Michael or Mike? It's like, you couldn't have named me Michael Joseph? Yeah. So then it became J. Michael Bruno, but then people thought my name was J.
Right.
And so I said, well, no, it's J. Michael Bruno. Then when I started doing shows, I just went by Bruno.
Right.
I thought, there's, hundreds of thousands of Josephs, there's millions of Michaels, but there were very few Brunos.
Yeah.
Before we don't talk about Bruno.
Exactly.
Or before Bruno Mars. So the people
Right.
when I was doing Harry and Bruno, which was at the Barber's Closet in the old days, or a stand-up act, people thought that Bruno was my first and only name. Like Cher, Madonna, Shamu. Dumbo, all the one-name celebrities.
Right,
so
there you go.
I can always tell who knows me from what century of my life.
Right.
By what name. It's like Orange. It's like, there's so many people just know you as Orange. They think, that's Orange. That's Orange Tree. That's Orange.
Although there are people that refuse to call me that. They think it's silly.
Oh, how dare they? Well, I suppose,
That's up to them. I mean,
it's up to
Carol
them.
is my given name, and so I definitely. And also, if somebody calls me Orange that is from a segment of my life where I'm sort of surprised that they know that, it's a bit of a tip off. Like, how did you know that was my nickname? But certainly in Madison, most people know me as Orange.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, it's like whenever I have to do anything like in a hospital or place whether your given name is. And I'll be in the waiting room. They say Joseph. I'm like,
yeah,
right, yeah.
Oh, you mean Michael?
You mean Michael, right?
You mean Bruno? Joseph. Okay, what's going on there?
Right.
Lovely, wonderful. Any other things that we haven't touched on that we need to talk about that you have on the back burners, on the front burners?
No, I mean, we didn't talk about literature, which I do get involved in raising money for the library, which is another passion of mine. But one of the things that I have started privately is I'm doing an arts salon, because I realized, kind of as you said, Bruno, that I know people in many different aspects of the arts. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to take a page from Copenhagen or Paris in the 1880s and invite people in the arts, different aspects of the arts, to come and just meet for a few hours. And, in Paris or Copenhagen, I think that they drank absinthe and smoked and had sex with each other, which we don't do any of that.
There's your marketing right there. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's right. Sex, drugs, and absinthe.
Exactly.
Heart makes the fun. What is that saying about absinthe makes the heart go fonder?
Go fonder. Right.
Beat faster.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've only had a couple of them, but both were amazing. Really, bringing people together is something I love doing, and I think that's what you do. You help people network and know about what each other are doing. So thank you for that.
Oh, it's my honor. It's my privilege. I enjoy meeting. Like I said, I've been asking you for months now, but people's schedules, and I'm knowing Buzz for years and years and years. Yeah. But I'm grateful for the opportunity that that I have to get all sorts of things, arts, music, dance, theater, whatever it is.
Yeah.
People need to know, because we're incredibly lucky in Madison to have as vibrant a community as we do.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Jim Stagehand. We also mentioned that APT won a Tony Award
Yes.
Yes.
for Best Regional Theater.
Very
So now they
exciting.
have a Tony Award, which is so
and,
cool.
And they're exhibiting it up the hill, so when you go to a play, you get to have your picture taken with it, because they want people to feel that they are part of it. It's not just the management or even the actors or the artistic staff at APT. It belongs to everyone that has made the theater thrive, and it's so sweet. And it was great to see Brenda and Sarah accept the Tony. And they did a great job, and it's really been a shot of energy and recognition that was long overdue.
Oh, and well deserved too.
Yes.
It's that's it's an important part of our fabric of Wisconsin. I mean, it's been
And they've been featured in the New York Times and gotten a lot of press that I think will just increase their reputation going forward. So I'm delighted for them.
That's absolutely wonderful. And a plug to Brenda, who I've been trying to get on this show for months now. Brenda DeVita, Brenda, whatever, however many names you want to go by. Right. You need to contact me because these two will get on your case if you don't come on and do my podcast.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. No, that is so true. I want to, just jump on that whole, gratitude thing too, because the actors, they get applause, the musicians, but so many people keep these wheels turning. Madison, I don't know how many people realize this, but for Madison to have, for just one example, not one but two functioning orchestras.
Oh,
how many
truly.
Cities 3, 4, 5 times our size have two functioning orchestras and a ballet company
and an opera
company,
amazing,
and all the choral groups we have and the theater, and it's it's all of us. It's you. It's Orange and her late husband Dean have been so active in keeping all these wheels turning. So thank you, and everybody who's watching this. If you buy a ticket to something, you're part of that. And if you buy a recording or go to hear a band and buy a T-shirt, whatever it is, you are part of keeping that machinery going and making Madison really bigger, have a bigger impact in the arts than we really should have given our size. I think we punch above our weight, and I really do appreciate everybody who's involved in making that little miracle happen.
And we were incredible to have people like Jerry and Pleasant.
Yes.
Who give us and give everybody a beautiful venues and support the arts and support theater, support drama and support the opera and gave us that beautiful Overture Center.
Yes.
So
the Overture Center was such a gift to all of us in the community. And if you go in on a busy night and every single venue is buzzing, pardon the pun, to both of my buzzes here.
Yeah, we're all used to it.
Right. Yes.
It's really a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, and it will continue, I think, because we have wonderful people like the two of you, making sure that everything happens, and that we have places and things to do and people to see.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us, and we'll probably see you this evening at the opera in the park.
I will be there.
Will you be going to the opera in the park?
I want to. I have so much catching up to do, having just returned from
that's true.
work
At midnight last night.
I flew in at midnight
Wow.
last. Yeah, I got home at midnight. But there's a 50-50 chance I will be at opera in the park. Audio for the Arts will be there for sure, because Audrey will be running the sound, and one of my other colleagues is her A2, and I can't remember who it even is because
you've been out of town?
I've been out of town. I don't know what I'm
You've been
doing.
away.
Yes,
You've been
indeed.
away.
Yes.
Cool. Well, it'd be lovely to see you. Please stop by and say hello at the Magic 98 table, where I'll be there with my radio cohort, Charlotte and Lynette. And thank you so much. And join us again next time for Showbiz Buzz with Bruno. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim Chalk and Bottle Rockets. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Brett. See you next time.